Okay, so we have completed our first week of NaNoWriMo, and we made some progress, but we did not get as far as we wanted to. So I have been using a template from Amazon KDP for their self-publishing template because I was planning to just write this, find an editor on Reedsy, and probably just self-publish there or self-publish on Amazon. So my goal is to just edit the manuscript as best as I can and fill in plot holes and world building and then work from there. My goal for the first week was to get through chapter 15. So I only got up through editing chapter 13. And I kind of wanted to walk you guys through my writing process. So let me bring over here. So I actually had been working on this manuscript for a couple years now. I started writing it in my old job where I was working sort of as at like a reception desk, and there was a lot of downtime and I need to have something to do and feel useful. And I'm pretty creative, so I was like, you know what, I've always wanted to write a book and I've had this idea in my head for years, so why don't I just start kind of plotting when there's nothing to do at work and just start writing and world building. And so I am not much of a plotter. I kind of plot and I kind of pants it. So I'm a plantser where I have an idea of where I want the story to go and I created a general outline and then I write from there and see where the story leads me. So I actually have, I did it all in Google Drive, and I have like the basic rough draft of the first round of just sort of like stream of consciousness writing the book in Google Drive. And then as I have been re-editing and formatting the manuscript, I started creating character sheets. So in world building, I created sheets for all of the different creatures and lore. So, and these are just things that I wanted to track. So their category, origin, gender or gender identity, their sexuality, timeline. So when were they created? So if it's a creature, when did they sort of arrive or were created in this world? Alignment, what is their role in the lore? Any sort of specific powers? What world do they belong to? So as you can see, I kind of start filling this in as I'm writing. And then I did that for world building as well, which this is sort of more of like a history of the world that this exists in, and any of the additional lore that the characters will reference, and any specific key members who are not necessarily individual characters, so like the Queen's Guard, the women's role in society, and then I've been going into the roles of each province within the world, and then my character sheets. So honestly, sometimes I'll start writing my first draft. A lot of these characters had different names. And then I'll start writing, and when I first started the story, I thought these two characters were going to end up together, and then I realized that they actually they weren't the best match, and so they're going to end up with different people. And so that affected what I originally thought their sexuality was going to be and who they were attracted to, and creating like family lineage and things like that. And I will honestly sometimes forget the stuff as I'm writing, like, okay, wait, what age was she? Okay. So these have been really key references as I am going through, especially for side characters who might not have as big of a role in the plot for this initial book, but would have an expanded role if I ever wanted to create this story into a larger series. So this, I've just really been sitting on this for a couple years, and I kind of finished my first draft of the full manuscript during COVID. And then with the way that the world was and things that I was dealing with in my own personal life, I just wasn't in the place to want to really do much editing. So I just kind of let it sit. And then as NaNoWriMo came around this year, I felt like, I'm actually ready to clean this up, like take the month of November and really do some editing and get through editing the entire manuscript and formatting it so that I can submit it to like a legitimate editor. So it's been fun. It's really kind of nerve-wracking because I don't think that writing is necessarily part of my personal creativity that people are aware of. So they're aware that I am an artist and I like to paint and that I play guitar, but I don't think that they are necessarily aware that I enjoy writing. So this is something that I've always wanted to do, and I was just kind of like, I need to just get out of my way. And if it's bad, it's bad. It's just another bad fiction series. Like, it's really not as big of a deal. I used to really be super self-conscious about it and not want to tell anybody that it's something that I'm interested in, and certainly not want anyone to read it or know that I wrote it. But I'm really trying to work through that mindset and shift my mindset to I'm really just like enjoying writing it for the process of writing it, and getting to have my characters and enjoying creating something different. I didn't take any like creative writing classes in college or anything like that. I was an art student. So yeah, this is just kind of something that I'm doing for fun, and that I hope it turns out okay. But yeah, so this is how much I've gotten done the first week. And my plan for week 2 is to get through chapter 25. We have Friday off for Veterans Day, so I'm hoping that I can just like take an entire day to really focus on my writing, because I do work a full-time job and I'm also taking classes right now. So there are other things that I have responsibilities for. So I'm hoping that I can really just sort of hammer it out and get through chapter 25 for editing in the manuscript. And then I want to have like the final week of November to have like the whole thing edited, and then just like sit down and read it and like update my Google Doc sheets and make sure that I have like all of the lore and all of the characters like consistent with what I'm talking about in the story, and see if there's any plot holes that I can find. And then search on Readsy, which is something that I just learned about, which you can actually use this to write books, but I like to write in Microsoft Word because I like to use, let me see here. So I like to use the navigation pane and make sure I have things formatted correctly. So I like to actually just write in Microsoft Word and edit in Microsoft Word, but you can write in Readsy, and then I think you can find like, look for editors by, based on like, if it's a fiction, if it's nonfiction, your age group and things like that. And there's a lot of really good resources. So I'm planning to, or at least right now, thinking about using them to find an editor for the final manuscript. So yeah, that is where I'm at right now. I'm not sure if anybody else has any good writing tips, but that is how I've been writing, and I'm excited to get to the end of a project that I've just been sitting on for a couple years.